It is 7:02 on Saturday, April 30th, 2022. I don't think it's showing up. Either way, I don't know if this counts as real filler. I said that I wouldn't do filler anymore, but this is more of a style parody of the wonderful YouTube videos on Youngstown Steel Heritage Corporation's YouTube channel. Except for their videos are actually good, educational, and show quality, narrow gauge content. But since I have some of that, but not all of that, not even most of that, I wanted to record one more update video before I take a month off to show how much you can get accomplished when you're not wasting time on the internet typing up titles and descriptions for videos that make only a few cents. And also, I've gotten more accomplished in the past week than I get done in a month usually. And I have the gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of video to prove it, but that will not be edited for a while. So now, let me give a tour. So, as you can see, there is hardly a narrow gauge or standard gauge piece of rolling stock left on the railroad. I've gotten a lot of stuff graded, but not much of it within the past week. Gotten a lot of stuff moved around because I've got a trip that I've got to make, and I'm not going to be around to put tarps back on trains if the wind blows them off. So, I did something which I've been putting off for a long time. I put some carports together. Now, I was waiting until I got this train track through the remains of that tree and down the hill, but that wasn't happening fast. I mean, I've gotten this leveled out, which was going to be the video that I wanted to publish before the end of the month, the nice edited video, but I've been too focused. I said I would edit when it rained. It rained for about 5 minutes this past week, which is good for accomplishing things, but not good for editing things because I feel the need to be outside doing actual labor before I go away. Anyway, so all of the broken down lawnmower train stuff is under the barn again, where it was quite a few years ago when all this mess started. Different side of the barn, but it's there. Also, I had a project which I didn't even get started on, but I guess I'll tell you about right now. See, ladies and gentlemen, this very nice bicycle right here. This very nice bicycle was dropped off on the side of the road near the edge of some woods over there. Now, both of my parents saw it, but I believe it is bad to take garbage that may be picked up by somebody who needs it more. So I did not pick it up. But my mom picked it up because she didn't like looking at it every time she drove down the road. And little did we know driving by it, but I am now the owner of an iron horse. Ooh. And it didn't even cost me anything. It was one of my projects that I didn't get finished with, to put high rail on this iron horse. That way I'd have a 2-foot gauge trackmobile. But didn't get that done. Now let me show something that I actually did get done. Impressive work! For one thing, all my green pallets that are to be future train cars are stacked up nice and neat and pretty. Best of all, we finally got most of a carport put up, and I am putting the tarps on what is not under the carport until I get done with this in another video. So now we got one standard gauge track, one 2-foot gauge track, all underneath this nice carport. Now this carport, I bought one and my parents bought one in May of 2020, and I had not had enough time off from working when I was working, and the weather would not line up when, after I stopped working on everything except for YouTube. Nothing would ever line up, but I finally got it put together. The instruction manual, when I finally opened it up, said that this should take 1 day to put together. So I got high hopes and wanted to get both of them put up. My crap under one, my parents' crap under the other. Well, really, my dad's crap. My mom doesn't have much crap. Minimalist people. You can't trust them. Hoarding, that's the way to go. Precision scheduled railroaders are minimalists. Anyway, I highly encourage watching those Surface Transportation Board hearings. It's the best thing ever. Where I was going with this was, took a while, but got a 2-foot gauge track, got a standard gauge track. The roof is what's been holding me back from getting anything done, because I apparently have very weak arms and these self-drilling screws aren't going too well. I actually got magnets to try to hold the thing on but that ain't quite working. So I got my lovely signal light down here, and don't have all the roof on because it's very hard for even a scrawny person like me to fit through there. So cart, got this set here, and if all goes well, I would kind of like to narrow gauge down this hill to my garbage pile. But I probably won't be doing dual gauge right here because the intention is to dual gauge on the other side of this property corner. And our neighbor, out of the kindness of her heart, has given permission for, if we needed to cut a corner, we can cut a corner. But in the event of her land going into another person's ownership, it's nice having just 2-foot gauge track. That way I can just rip it up in an afternoon, just like a Class 1 railroad would. So anyway, but I do plan on having dual gauge track on this side of the property line going down up the hill without the sharp curve and everything else. So the life lesson here is don't waste your time on the internet, because you can actually get something done in real life that makes you feel like you've accomplished something, which eases everybody that is around you's minds. Even though I cannot do train rides for a very long time because now all my stuff is landlocked under this carport. So I gotta get the train tracks down the hill, and I can't get the train tracks down the hill until I finish digging the drainage ditch that will be underneath the train tracks. So I have delayed possible guest appearances on my railroad for probably quite a few months, but I ain't gonna be here very much for quite a few months, hopefully, if all works out, because I will hopefully be working, and I will not have time to dig holes, and I will not have time to cover stuff back up with tarps every time the wind blows, because the wind blows a lot around here. You think this is wind turbine country if there ever was one. Didn't used to be, but everything went with the wind. Every day is Tuesday here at the Alexis Railroad. You lovely Leonard Skinner fans out there. I think it's better than most of my filler. I feel happy. I'm getting stuff done. I have to get ready because I have to go on a road trip on Monday. So, the motorcycles interrupt videos, as always, here at the Alexis Railroad. The railroad with only human-powered motive power so far. The month of April ends, and a new month and future begins here in wherever.